No, I wasn't even here when the zebra. It's funny, Sarah, because I moved here 2000. My son was born in 2003. So we moved here in 2004. And shortly after I moved here, starting to get to know some people and being totally freaked out. Because I came from Massachusetts, Northampton, Massachusetts, where very liberal, lots of art all the time, tons of music, Just feeling a little depressed. And I was really into home movies and 8mm, and I remember I started asking people about where I could get my camera looked at. I said, oh, you should meet David Nelson. And then asking other people about where, because we had Robinson Film Center open shortly after we moved here, a few years after, but they still weren't playing some of the art house films or the documentaries that I really wanted to see, which would have been no big deal in Massachusetts. I said, oh, you need to, but we finally met at a Christmas party, and he was with Ryan and I was with Joel, my husband, and we met in a hallway, and it was cemented from that moment on. But I started helping David with Minicine, and he got involved with Taka, and one of the founding members, and the MSPS, the McNeil Street Pumping Station New Music Festival. I remember going to the first one that he did. I think that was in 2009. And I felt like I had been blasted out of Shreveport into some fabulous big city, anywhere in the world you can name, where people were really supporting the arts and doing interesting things. But no, it was right here in Shreveport. It was crazy. Minicine really reaches. That's one of the things I love about it. I can't tell you how many times a program will end, or a film, and somebody will look at me and say, oh, I didn't know I needed to do drugs to understand this. Like, well, what's there to understand? Can it just be? You just enjoy the being and, just letting it happen. But those are the moments that I probably love the best, not just because they're strange, but it's challenging and it's different, and it renews your spirit, or at least it does for me. There was a film that played at Minicine recently that was kind of going through my head, but it was interesting to hear the discussion outside of what, all the different interpretations of that film.
The Wild Boys?
Yes. Yeah. And we showed a film called Seed, The Untold Story, and about the importance of seeds and seed saving and our environment and humans' future. But we collaborated with Slow Foods, and all the money went to We Grow Together, which is a food education and growing program out by Magnet High School that does really nice things with young people to have them better understand food and farming and where your food comes from and nutrition, all of the above. It's a fantastic program.
Right, that's awesome.
But that's the other thing that I love about working with David. It's never, ever, ever, ever been about making money. Ever. It's all been about the art and the community, the artists, the musicians. Can we help somebody out by doing this? It's always been that way with David, and I appreciate that so much. He has a giant heart. And I'm really proud of the diversity that we've seen over the last few years, and of all kinds of diversity, gay, straight, trans, white, black, Indian, rich, poor, whatever. We have real diversity there, and that is a beautiful thing. Because we have such diversity in Shreveport, I feel like most of the shows I go to at Minicine reflect the diversity of our city.
I like your Minicine shirt.
I thought it was appropriate.
It's awesome. I didn't know that they even had any.
This is like second or third generation. And David keeps saying he's going to come out with another one.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
And every time I wear it, he says, oh, yeah, we got to come up with another version. This is about 10 years old.
So, can you explain that one?
I have no idea. It's like, I don't know if it's kind of like, art and a fish riding a bicycle. Wasn't there a famous saying or something?
Huh.
And it was probably designed by somebody that comes to Minicine that I don't even know. The first physical places I remember going was the Zebra Room, which is in that far corner, kind of down in the basement. There's a real dark room with no windows. It's literally underground, kind of, if you go to the very back far corner of the building that he lives in. It was totally dark and stinky and hot in the summertime, but it was a great place. They would have performers in there until the fire marshal closed it down because it was basically a fire trap. There was only one little exit in, but it was a really cool place, and it was the first place that I ever saw Dirtfoot. I think Dirtfoot did their first performance back before they were just barely professional, not really professional, just kind of a percussion band. I think they had Christy Kirkley on sax and on bass, and several percussion players, and the audience, it was like a total audience participation with people beating on beer cans and dancing in front of the stage, almost like a tribal thing, which is, was very cool. And they eventually, we got 6 or 7 CDs out now and still going pretty strong as a professional band. And,
right, yeah.
And now, the place he's got now has kind of evolved to, I don't know if he's going to ever finish it out or not. I kind of like it unfinished like that. But David was like a link in the chain. Shreveport's always had a pretty strong performance vibe. Back in the 80s and 90s, sitting there, he used to sponsor some track before they got quite as big as they were. And there used to be street stuff and storefronts downtown, but never a place like Minicine, where there was a physical place that would basically welcome anybody.